Welcome students. Today we will discuss about list. List list list. So what is list? A list is a collection of data of different data types. So in previous class we discussed about what is a column vector. A vector is a collection of similar data items of dimension 1. Whereas in list you can store data of different types, like some elements are string, some elements are vector, some are boolean, some are matrix also. Let us see what is the syntax for creating the list. So we will use a function called list function, list, list, open parenthesis, closed parenthesis, for purpose of creating a list in R. So let us see one example. Let us see, we will create a list, capital AB. We can use arrow mark symbol and we will use list function. For this list function, we will pass the elements which are to be stored. Say for example, I want to store string INDA. So for example, I want to store integer 25. I want to store, say for example, boolean true. Say for example, I can store a column vector also. For that column vector, since you have to define here, you better use C function here. Say for example, 2 comma 4 comma 5. So in this way, what we have done is we have created a list containing a string and a integer and a boolean and finally a column vector. All these elements, different data elements in a single list called as AB. So let us execute it. So you can see this. I hope it is visible. You can see this. The AB list contains the string at first index location, similarly the integer 25 at second index location, and the boolean value at third index location, and the column vector at fourth index location. Okay, so just like in vectors, in list also the indexing of elements starts from 1. That means for this first string the index is 1, for integer 2, for third boolean value it is 3, for the fourth one, that is column vector, it is indexing is 4. Say for example, I want to print this boolean variable, boolean value. So AB. So just like in vectors, we will use square brackets for accessing a particular element. I want third element. So let us try to execute. So I got the third element data as true. If you want the first element, you can put 1. Let us execute. So I got the first element. In this way, you can use the list function for creating the list data structure, and then simultaneously you can perform accessing with the help of square brackets, and you have to provide the indexing numbers. Okay, so if you found difficulty, you can also name the list elements. Okay, that means you can name the first element, second index element, third index element, fourth index element. So that means we can name the index. We can name the index numbers. So if you want to access here the AB list means you have to provide the number for indexing the data. So if you know the name means if you create the name for each index numbers means it will be easy for us to accessing a element. Let us see. Okay, since how many elements are there? 1, 2, 3, 4 elements. Therefore, you need to define 4 index names. Okay, for each data element, you have to provide the index names. So for that we will use a function called as uh, names function. So we will use a function called as names function we will use for function for naming the index numbers in list. Okay, let us try. So we will use directly the names. For this names function you have to pass the list variable. So here the list variable is, I want to name the AB index AB list, so I will provide like this, and next arrow mark symbol. Since I have to provide name, you have to use the column vector. So you can see the first element is a string, maybe it is pointing to some country name, so I will give the name as country. The first data element index name is country. Let us suppose age 25 corresponds to age, means I will put as something like this. Say for example third one, you can see Indian or not, you can give any name as per the domain. Okay, so finally a column vector. For that also you can provide any name. Okay, some weight, something, some name. Okay, so we successfully, let us execute this one. So we successfully assigned the column names for each data elements in the list AB. Now with the help of names also we can access the elements. Let us see how. The name of the element. Now we will see how to access the elements using index name in list using dollar symbol. Let us see. So there is one symbol called as dollar symbol. With the help of dollar symbol you can access the elements in the list using the index name. Say for example I want to find out the age, so a dollar age. So let us see what is output. You can see this, I got my output as 25. If I want, instead of age I want country, so I got the output. So what you have to understand is, it's very simple. So for accessing the elements in the list you can use either numeric indexing or character naming also. If you are using character, okay, name indexing means you have to use a dollar symbol. AB dollar. So you want weight means you can put here and you can start executing and you got output. So in this way you can access the elements inside the list elements. A list is a collection of different data types. You can also store matrix also. Now our next concept is, once you understand this how to accessing, the next concept is how to manipulate the list elements. Say for example how to manipulate the elements inside the list. How to manipulate, that means whether we can add new elements or delete old elements. Say for example I want to delete the old elements, I want to delete this boolean or this weight value. Okay, AB dollar weight VIGHT, or I will delete Indian. So if I assigned a null value if I assign a null value to this attribute, what will happen is this value will be removed. Let us see. So successfully executed. Let us print A, B. Now you can see in the output, if I execute the AB statement, the elements inside AB will be printed. So India will be printed and age, second element, 245 column vector, but this is not printed. So if you want to delete any element inside the list, you use null value, null keyword, and you assign to the particular element. Okay. Now we will discuss about how to manipulate the elements inside the list. So for removing a particular element, you have to use the null keyword here and you assign to a particular element, and automatically that will be deleted. Say for example, you want to add new things, new elements in the list. You want to add new elements inside the list. So what you have to do means, you assign a character. Say for example, I want to add a new character, and you can put the index number to that list and automatically it will be added. You can also use the dollar symbol for adding a new element. So I have created AB dollar designation and I have assigned the value as professor and I try to print it. So let us see what happens. So you can see this, apart from country, age, weight, so hello is also added. So here I have added the new elements with numerical indexing and also with dollar name indexing. So you can add by using any of these two techniques to add new elements. Okay. So in list we have learned how to create a list, how to access the list using numerical indexing and also name indexing, and finally we have seen how to add new elements or delete the existing elements inside the list. So with this I want to close.